Madison, thank you so much for that report. And I do want to get to the latest here, as the man who attempted to assassinate Donald Trump had photos on his phone of the former president, along with President Biden, Attorney General Merrick Garland, FBI Director Wray, and Fulton County District Attorney Fani Wilis. The information, reported by the Associated Press, says questions do remain about the motive behind the attack at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania over the weekend. This is just some of the video that was released, and you can see the accused gunman right there on the roof of the home, or building, I should say. Now, investigators searching the phone of Thomas Matthew Crooks say they also found that he looked up the dates for the Democratic National Convention as well as Trump's appearances. Do want to talk more about all of this, so let's bring in Bobby McDonald, a lecturer in the Criminal Justice Department at the University of New Haven. He spent over 20 years with the Secret Service, joining us now live. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Good morning, Josh. Always great to be with you.
All right, so I want to start from the beginning here, because it has been almost a week since all of this did unfold there in Butler, Pennsylvania. As a former Secret Service agent there, somebody who did work in this field, can you explain to me what was going through your mind when you heard that the former president had been shot and the Secret Service was there? You see the video as they jump into action.
You know, anytime the Secret Service is in the news, all of us that spent a lot of years there automatically get transported back into whatever that situation is and wonder how we would have responded or would have reacted. I was fortunate. I never in 21 years had to respond to a high-powered rifle shotgun sound towards one of my protectees. So I immediately watched the actions of the shift. That's the agents that are directly around the former president. Their actions were absolutely admirable, brave, full of movement, full of communication. Does it look a little sloppy when we Monday morning quarterback it afterwards? Yes, but the bottom line, they responded appropriately. The next issue that we've got to talk about is the protective advance that was put in place. That's the pre-planning process that takes place for about a week ahead of time by a team of Secret Service agents in concert with state, local, and federal authorities to put together the plan, to talk about communication, to talk about hypothetical situations. If this happens, what do we do? If that happens, what do we do? How do we communicate with each other? What's the route to the hospital on the roads in the motorcade? What's the area of the airport like where the former president is going to arrive? All of those things are chalk talked and put together in a security plan that's supposed to be robust, solid, and seamless. And unfortunately, we had a lot of issues here. A lot of things went wrong, especially with that advance and then the implementation of that security process.
I know this is a tough question to answer, and you have so many different organizations, agencies, entities that are trying to work to figure this out. But how does something like this happen? Why does something like this happen? Is that an answer that we will ever get?
Those are exactly the questions that a lot of us out here that have been talking over our coffee in the morning with our former colleagues and friends in the business. What went on here? How did this happen? How did this situation where a 20-year-old young man from Butler, Pennsylvania was able to get on top of this roof with a high-powered rifle? Also taking into account, there's been reports of intelligence that Iran was going to be going after the former president. So if the detail was augmented or the security was augmented and we allowed a 20-year-old kid to be able to pull something like this off, there are some serious issues here that we've got to figure out. And the Secret Service, it pains me to say, is going to have to stand up, take responsibility for this, and start to come up with some proper answers and reasons why this happened. Not kicking the can down the road, not looking to cover anybody's rear end, but figuring out how to be transparent, how to be truthful. You know, the Secret Service motto is worthy of trust and confidence. And it's time for the Secret Service leadership to stand up. Their messaging, not that the messaging is overly important here because we had a death and some injuries and the former president was hurt, but the messaging and the answers to those questions needing to be put together in a proper and transparent fashion.
The director of the Secret Service is expected to testify before Congress on Monday, possibly other days as well next week. So what do we expect to hear? What is the line of questioning likely to be?
Well, I hope that she and her team are bunkered down somewhere in Secret Service headquarters with a box of coffee and a box of munchkins to try to figure out how they're going to respond to these questions. Remember, when people go up to Congress to testify, the Congress people already know the answers to the questions. So you certainly don't want to allow any blood in the water with giving a ridiculous answer or the roof was a little sloped and we didn't want to injure any of our people. They need to be transparent and have the ability to present the facts that they found out and where the inadequacies in our protective advance were. There are a lot of good things that are happening every day in the Secret Service. I've said this before to you when we've talked in the past. You know, when nothing happens, nobody thinks of anything that's going right or wrong. But when something bad happens, now we've brought it to the forefront. And now we've got to fix those issues and make sure that they don't happen again as we move into the home stretch of our presidential election.
It's so true. If everything ran smoothly, you wouldn't be hearing about it. And it's when things mess up that you really hear about it. And that's when, of course, I bring you on to help break it down. But I also want to ask a little bit about the situation that did play out, because I know in cases like this, things serve as a learning experience. Is that what you expect this will be right here?
Look, every time the Secret Service goes through an issue that brings some negativity to it, it needs to use it as you just said, a learning point, a chance to reset, reboot, look at the issues, look at how to fix its practices and procedures. Look, the Secret Service is very good at what it does. We weren't very good last Saturday, but all in all, day to day, we have a zero fail policy. And the Secret Service, whose practices and policies are all built on things that have happened in the past, from the Ford assassination attempts in the 70s to the Reagan assassination attempt 40-something years ago. Everything that the Secret Service does is built on past issues or good hypotheticals that have been chalk talk. So the Secret Service really needs to look inside of itself and come up with some solutions. I'm not saying they have to change all the practices and methodologies. It's a solid program, but we have a situation here where all the I's weren't dotted and all the T's weren't crossed, and somebody or some people missed a number of issues here that I think are now snowballing and all coming out as we peel back the onion of the investigation.
And you already touched on this, but I want to ask you a little bit more about it, because we now learn that prior to the rally, the U.S. had uncovered a plan by Iran to assassinate Trump. So security was already considered to be increased, but the fact that this was able to happen despite concerns over that Iranian threat, does that just make all of this, I guess, even more difficult to fully comprehend?
Absolutely. You know, I spent a little time in my Secret Service careers working in the what we used to call the asset and personnel section, the war room, if you will. Look, there are only finite assets that the Secret Service has, and it has to figure out how to utilize all of those assets in the very best way possible. And sometimes some hard decisions have to be made. But people have to make hard decisions. And if they make those hard decisions and assets are moved around for a particular reason, then the Secret Service needs to stand up right now and say, this is why we did what we did. I'm not here to give away all of the trade secrets of the Secret Service, but there are a lot of different things, a lot of different creativity things that the Secret Service can do and should do when certain things aren't able to be utilized. For example, we're hearing that the police in Butler indicated that they couldn't secure that building for that event. Okay, the Secret Service is responsible for the protection of the former president and is responsible for the implementation and oversight and supervision of that security plan. You got to figure it out. You've got to come up with a solution. You've got to be creative. Can you move the stage a little bit? Can you move the video screens a little bit to take away a line of sight issue? You know, can you do a tenting situation where other line of sight issues are taken away? You've got to be creative. And just because somebody can't cover a post doesn't mean, okay, then we won't worry about it. You still have to take care of what you need to have to take care of.
I know this is kind of a difficult question to answer right now, but what question or questions, we'll say, do you have that you hope will be answered soon?
Well, I think a couple of things. We need to obviously deal with the issue that happened Saturday and how do we fix that? I also think that the director of the Secret Service needs to, with her leadership team, from a messaging standpoint, get their act together. You know, the video of her being confronted the other night by 4 senators while she's at the DNC or the RNC, excuse me. It's an optics thing, and we shouldn't be talking about optics. She's got to get out now and lead from the front and show her troops, officers and agents and all the other administrative personnel of the Secret Service that she's out leading from the front, not passing the buck. We didn't do that. That wasn't our responsibility. Hey, we're the Secret Service, okay? We protect the president, vice president, dignitaries, a whole bunch of people, and we're very good at what we do. Again, not very good last Saturday, but we need to tighten up, message appropriately, get some honest answers out there, and show people that we know what we're doing, and we're going to go out and work very hard for the rest of the campaign and beyond that. The agents and officers of the Secret Service go to work every day with a zero fail policy, and all they want to do is get their protectee home safe at night and get themselves home safe at night. And that's got to start right now, immediately. And I hope that next Monday she's able to bring that out in her testimony with a confidence and leadership to show her troops that she's got their back.
Bobby McDonald, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us and breaking it all down. Anything else that you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
No, I think your questions were spot on. And again, there's going to be more coming, and it seems to be coming at a little bit higher rate. And we'll see. I hope that we start to move this in the right direction and really get some answers that we need to get, not just passing the buck.
All right. Thank you again for taking the time to be here with us, as always. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh. Great to see you.